The brutal truth about ancient Roman punishments. Ancient Rome's legal system was intricate and foundational. It combined written laws with customs and traditions, creating a framework that influenced many future civilizations. The legal principles established during this era, especially the notion of justice, fairness, and the importance of legal representation, are still echoed in modern legal systems worldwide. Crime and punishment in ancient Rome were integral to maintaining social order. The Romans employed a wide array of punishments, from fines to death sentences, depending on the severity of the crime. These punishments were not only punitive, but also served as deterrents to others, reinforcing societal norms and expectations. The 12 Tables played a critical role in Roman law. They were the first codification of Roman legal principles, providing a written reference that minimized arbitrary judgments. The 12 Tables covered various aspects of daily life, including property rights, family law, and personal injury, thereby ensuring a more consistent application of justice. Public executions were a significant aspect of Roman justice, serving as both punishment and spectacle. They were conducted in public arenas to maximize their deterrent effect. The populace viewed these events as entertainment, reinforcing the power of the state and the consequences of defying its laws. These spectacles often drew large crowds. Crucifixion was considered the ultimate deterrent in ancient Rome. Reserved for the most heinous criminals, especially slaves and insurgents, it was a slow, excruciating death meant to instill fear. The public nature of crucifixions ensured that the message of the state's power and the severe consequences of rebellion were clearly communicated. The practice of decimation in the Roman army was a severe form of military discipline. It involved executing 1 out of every 10 soldiers chosen by lot. This brutal method was used to punish units showing cowardice or mutiny, serving as a harsh deterrent for insubordination within the ranks. Crucifixion was considered the ultimate punishment and deterrent in ancient Rome. This method was reserved for the most heinous crimes, such as treason or rebellion. Victims were nailed or tied to a cross and left to die slowly, serving as a gruesome public warning to others. Slavery played a significant role in Roman punishments. Enslaved individuals could be subjected to extreme forms of punishment, including flogging, branding, and execution. Their lack of legal rights made them vulnerable to harsh disciplinary measures, highlighting the stark social inequalities of Roman society. The concept of damnatio memoriae involved erasing a person's memory from history as a form of punishment. This decree was used against those who had committed severe offenses against the state or emperor. Statues were destroyed, names were chiseled out of inscriptions, and historical records were altered to obliterate their legacy. The punishment of parricide, known as the Poena cullei, was one of the most unique and gruesome in Roman law. Those convicted of killing a parent were sewn into a leather sack with various animals and then thrown into a river. This punishment underscored the gravity of crimes against one's family. Damnatio memoriae was a severe form of punishment in ancient Rome, where a person's existence was systematically erased from public memory. This included the destruction of statues, inscriptions, and documents. It was typically reserved for those who committed acts of great betrayal or treason, ensuring their legacy was completely obliterated. Parricide, the act of killing one's own father or close relative, was met with one of Rome's most grisly punishments, the Poena cullei. The condemned was sewn into a leather sack along with a dog, snake, monkey, and rooster, then thrown into a river. This punishment emphasized the heinous nature of the crime. Roman prisons were not designed for long-term detention, but acted as holding cells until trial or execution. Conditions were harsh and unsanitary, often leading to death before sentencing. Prisoners faced physical and psychological torment, making imprisonment itself a form of punishment rather than mere confinement. Vestal virgins, priestesses of Vesta, held a sacred role in Roman society. Breaking their vow of chastity resulted in being buried alive, a punishment reflecting the gravity of their sacred duties. This unique punishment underscored the importance of religious observance and the severe consequences of failing to uphold it. Flogging and beating were common punishments for a variety of offenses in ancient Rome. These corporal punishments served as immediate and public deterrents, often carried out in front of onlookers to instill fear and maintain order. They were quick yet brutal, leaving lasting physical and psychological scars. Exile, a common punishment in ancient Rome, was used to remove individuals deemed harmful to society without resorting to execution. Banishment could be temporary or permanent, and often involved the confiscation of property. The severity of exile varied based on the crime and the social status of the offender. Religion played a crucial role in Roman punishments, often influencing the severity and type of penalty. Religious transgressions, such as desecration of temples or failure to perform proper rituals, could result in severe penalties. The belief in divine retribution reinforced the importance of adhering to religious norms and practices. Political punishments were a tool for maintaining control and order within the Roman Senate and broader political landscape. Senators and other officials who fell out of favor could face exile, execution, or forced suicide. These harsh measures served to deter dissent and consolidate power within the ruling class. Rebellious provinces faced harsh reprisals to discourage future insurrections and maintain the empire's stability. Punishments included mass executions, enslavement, and the destruction of cities. These brutal tactics were intended to send a clear message to other provinces about the consequences of defying Roman authority. Punishments in Rome evolved significantly from the Republic to the Empire. During the Republic, punishments were often more communal and publicly administered. Under the Empire, the emperor's centralized power led to more systematic and sometimes arbitrary enforcement of penalties, reflecting the changing nature of Roman governance and societal control. Roman punishments have had a significant influence on later legal systems. Many modern legal principles, such as the presumption of innocence, can be traced back to Roman jurisprudence. Their structured approach to crime and punishment set foundational standards that have endured throughout history, shaping contemporary judicial practices globally. Famous cases of Roman punishments highlight the severity and spectacle of the era. The execution of Spartacus and his followers, for instance, demonstrated Rome's ruthless approach to rebellion. These historical accounts provide insight into the methods and mindsets of Roman authorities, serving as stark reminders of their uncompromising justice. Public punishments in ancient Rome had profound psychological impacts on both the punished and the spectators. The intention was not just to penalize, but to instill fear and obedience among the populace. The gruesome nature of these punishments often left lasting mental scars, reinforcing societal norms through terror and awe. Legal rights of the accused in ancient Rome were surprisingly advanced for their time. Defendants were entitled to a trial and could present evidence and witnesses. This early form of legal representation underscores the sophistication of Roman legal procedures, which aimed to balance state power with individual protections. The emperor played a pivotal role in deciding punishments. His judgments could override traditional courts, reflecting the centralization of power in the Roman Empire. This absolute authority often led to arbitrary decisions, but it also allowed for swift and decisive actions in maintaining order and justice. Ancient Roman punishments were often severe and public, similar to those in other ancient civilizations like Greece and Egypt. However, the Romans were particularly known for their legal codifications and systematic approach. This structured method influenced their punishments, making them more formalized and sometimes more brutal compared to their contemporaries. Public humiliation was a common aspect of Roman punishments. Offenders could be paraded through the streets, shackled, or subjected to public whippings. This method served as both a deterrent for others and a way to reinforce social order by making an example of the punished individuals. Juvenile offenders in ancient Rome faced different punishments than adults. While corporal punishment was still common, there was a greater emphasis on reformation. Young offenders might be sent to special schools or labor camps, reflecting a somewhat progressive approach to juvenile justice for that era. Social class significantly impacted the type and severity of punishments in Rome. Wealthy citizens often received lighter sentences or could pay fines, while the poor faced harsher physical punishments. This disparity highlighted the entrenched social hierarchy and the influence of wealth on judicial outcomes. Women in ancient Rome had distinct roles in both administering and receiving punishments. While generally subject to the same laws as men, women could face unique penalties such as loss of dowry or forced labor. In some cases, women of higher status might be spared harsher punishments due to their social connections. Roman punishments often left a lasting impact on those who experienced them. Reintegration into society could be challenging due to the stigma attached to being punished. Social ostracism and loss of status were common, making it difficult for individuals to regain their former standing or to live without constant reminders of their past. Legal reforms during the later Roman Empire aimed to standardize and humanize punishments. Efforts were made to reduce the severity of certain penalties and to ensure fairer trials. These reforms reflected a shifting attitude towards justice and the treatment of the accused, influenced by evolving societal and philosophical norms. Archaeological evidence, such as inscriptions and physical remains, provides insight into Roman punishments. Items like shackles, execution sites, and prison cells reveal the harsh realities faced by those condemned. These findings help historians understand the extent and methods of punishment, offering a tangible connection to ancient legal practices. Literature from ancient Rome, including works by historians and playwrights, documented various aspects of punishment. These accounts served both as records and as moral commentaries. Literature played a crucial role in shaping contemporary and future perceptions of Roman justice, highlighting both its brutality and its efforts at legal consistency. The morality and ethics of Roman punishments have long been subjects of debate. While some view them as necessary for maintaining order, others criticize their severity and inhumanity. The ethical considerations surrounding these practices continue to prompt reflection on the balance between justice and cruelty in legal systems, both ancient and modern. Greek practices influenced Roman punishment significantly. The Romans adopted and adapted Greek methods, integrating them into their legal system. This cultural exchange enriched Roman law, blending Greek philosophical ideals with Roman practicality. It created a unique judicial framework that balanced punitive measures with philosophical underpinnings of justice and morality. Roman law schools played a crucial role in shaping the empire's punitive practices. These institutions were centers of legal scholarship, where future jurists learned to interpret and apply laws. Through rigorous training and debate, they refined the legal principles that governed punishment, ensuring consistency and fairness across the vast Roman territories. Punishments in ancient Rome were not merely tools of retribution, but also mechanisms of control. Public executions and other harsh penalties served as deterrents, maintaining order among the populace. By instilling fear and demonstrating the consequences of disobedience, Roman authorities reinforced their dominance and prevented potential uprisings. Modern media often portrays Roman punishments with dramatic flair, highlighting their brutality and spectacle. Films, books, and television shows depict gladiatorial combats and public executions, captivating audiences. These portrayals, while sometimes exaggerated, reflect the historical reality and continue to fascinate people, keeping the ancient practices alive in contemporary culture. The legacy of Roman punishments endures in today's legal systems. Concepts such as due process, public trials, and proportional punishment have roots in Roman jurisprudence. Despite the evolution of more humane practices, the foundational principles established by the Romans continue to influence modern judicial frameworks, underscoring their lasting impact on legal history.